Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy Doe, and today is part 2 of what it's like to have a lot of Moldavite. So, this is part 2. The first episode I talked about, what it means like when this energy consumes and takes over you. Some other symptoms today we're going to start with is very rapid heartbeat. A lot of you may probably get your heart beating really fast, right? Because Moldavite's frequency is actually like really, really high, right? We're talking about space level, right? And so when you have a piece on, like you notice in my previous videos, like I mentioned, like I talk really fast. It's just that my heart is beating really fast. Whenever I take off this Moldavite, I can feel my body like elevating down, and then I can kind of breathe again. And so you'll experience like rapid heartbeat. And a lot of you probably get very spaced out or like lightheaded, right? I remember when I graded one of the Moldavites in Texas, and I sat down and I meditated for like 5-10 minutes after I graded it, and then I stood up and I got so lightheaded where I started to like, wait, where am I? Because I didn't even recognize where I was anymore. And then I finally got my my senses back, and then it just felt like I shifted dimension. It was like the weirdest experience. So yeah, so body moves, right? So that's why, like, if you're working with a lot of Moldite, I know for me, since I have so many, I have like 2 massive grids open and like another one in the room. I constantly, so my heart is beating so fast, I have to start working out and like doing yoga. Like yoga has been coming up a lot for me lately, just because our body is a vessel, right? And in order for energy to be anchored in and flow through, easier for us to manifest, our body needs to be in tip-top shape, right? Because if you're like, I'm out of shape, right? You may think like I go to all these parks, but man, I park my car pretty close. But yeah, just getting back into like having your heart be healthy and just to be able to keep up with the rapid heartbeat. And so if you are not active, right? I would notice like it's kind of hard for me to breathe whenever I'm like in massive grids like this. I would really have to take deep breaths, or my body is like tense, right, uncomfortable, because all this energy or these trapped emotions are coming up, and I just constantly have to be aware. Okay, what is there? What chords are there cut? What is there clear? Whose energy is this? All this energetic tools that I never knew anything about in my entire, I don't know, college and 7-year career, right? It's the past 2 years of my my journey, awakening journey since Moldavite and taking the plant medicine is like, wow, my entire reality is like, it's not what it is. I'm like unlearning everything I thought I learned. And so that's why when you're going through this awakening, it can be very scary, because what I thought was a reality is now starting to collapse. Right? And so because Moldavite is energy is so high and we're trying to ascend, like shift with it, you gotta keep up. So now I'm starting to like work my body. Getting body massages helps open up, right? And then you notice when you're getting massaged, like different memories, different thoughts come through, random, like long time ago events, and the wives are all of a sudden coming up. It's because when they're massaging it, they're massaging out the stuck energy, right? Because all these are blood vessels, and when there's stuck energy, it can't really go through. And so when we're massaging it, it's opening up those pathways for the energy to start flowing. So before, I used to think like, oh, getting a massage is really expensive, that mentality. But now just learning all this energy stuff, it's like, oh my God, I need a massage at least like once or twice a month. Otherwise, I'm gonna be like so tense, and especially if I'm working with this much Moldavite, constantly I'm like very, very tense or uncomfortable, and then I catch myself. Okay, got it. What is there to clear? But yeah, I'm just saying, you can try to get a big piece. You just gotta be able to like handle what's coming at you, right? It's not just saying like, oh, your reality is going to change very fast. Your body has to be able to handle all this energy as well. And if you can't, right, you probably break down or like go into a deep depression or something because there's so much is coming up so fast. Remember, we're raising our vibration. That's literally what it is. So with that being said, right, if I'm wearing it and I'm uncomfortable, right, because it's making me all these stuck emotions come up, then can you imagine what's going to happen to people around me? So when I started this journey, and just being around people with this much Moldavite, I'm like, wow, why are they like getting triggered? So that's one thing, right? When you're wearing this, you're getting triggered because all your emotions are coming up. The people around you are also getting triggered that you are unaware about, right? Because the Moldavite's like trying to have them raise their vibration, same as you, but they have no idea what's going on. But then all these stuck emotions are coming up for them. It's coming up for you too. That's why it's important that you need to know how to have these tools to like clear these energies as they surface if you want to start like ascending really fast, right? And so now here you're getting triggered. You're not aware of what's going on, or if you do, great. Now there are people around you are getting triggered. So it's really important that we know how to neutralize the situation, how to have effective conversation. So that's why just being in my year-long program, Energetic Mastery, with that group, it's so amazing. Just because there's the people in the group, we've all done a lot of training, like landmark education or PSI, and just like inner work. Like there's a lot of training to it, right? And just having the conversation with the people in the group, like they're very conscious. And by what I mean is like, for example, me, I asked one of my good friends in there, right? We met in the group, if she wanted to invest. And she thought about that and she's like, no. And so I'm like, oh, great. Got it. And we could just both sit there and just be with it and not feel like, oh, this is awkward. Oh, she said no, right? It's, now I'm like, I can't face it. I can't talk to her. Like, why would you invest, right? It's because we can be in that space where we don't have any judgment, any reaction towards it. It's either a yes or no. Everyone has a free will, and whatever they choose, we move forward with that answer. So if this opportunity didn't go through, the universe is going to bring me an opportunity, right? And so we'll get what we're asking for. It may be embodied in different forms, different people. So that's why it's important to like know how to neutralize your feelings and also be able to neutralize the people that you are triggering, that are being triggered by you subconsciously, unaware. So that's why fights break out when people have Moldavite. Even the building, the material things around you, right? If you are living in like a torn down apartment, and here's your frequency trying to rise, and then now everything around you in this apartment is low vibe. Well, guess what? That will vibrate out of your life. Maybe like you get evicted, or something happens. Something is going to push you out regardless, because that vibration is no longer adjusted to your new frequency. Just a heads up, material things will vibrate out, people will vibrate out, lots of triggers. You and everyone around you. So with this much, it's funny because for me, Houston was really pretty dense for me. So there's a lot of family there, and there's stuff I haven't completely cleared. So I was unaware of that. Just all this energy cutting core stuff. But now I could see it coming out here. Just viewing my circle of friends right now, it's majority of the people in my program, these are people who've done a lot of work, right? Like they're at my level of knowledge, right? At equal or more, but we're just like all being there for like, don't let our junk come up and react to each other's stuff, right? Because it's just a conversation. There's no reaction, like pop and supercharged emotion with it. But it's so freeing to be around that kind of people because you can just talk and be with each other and not judge and assess on what they're trying to say, right? Because you can all pick up, it's like, is this a chord? Is this a story? Like, so those kind of conversation actually elevates us rather than gossip, right? We like the gossip conversation barely exists in our group. So when you're talking about community, a strong community, everyone's foundation like integrity. We are aware that does a lot of landmark training, but it's when you are around that kind of people, that kind of community, like we support each other, and we never have to worry about, oh, do I trust you? I trust you, right? Because everyone are their word, they act with integrity, and they keep their word. And so a lot of that distrust is out of the gate. Like we don't have to worry about that. So that's number 2 for today. Is just like triggers and a lot of stuck emotions coming up. The third one is okay. So originally when I started, I mentioned to you in the first video that there are moments where I didn't have enough money in the bank. Like if I were to buy the next meal, I would overdraft. Or there's some nights I couldn't afford an Airbnb in this new city I'm entering, so I had to sleep in the car. So I shared that with you, not for you to like have you feel sorry or feel bad for me, right? I want to share that with you because I know some of you may be experiencing this kind of stuff, and you're like questioning like what's going on, or like why is the world like this, and like am I hitting rock bottom? Like this, like no one's there, like no one loves me, kind of like that emotion, right? No one cares. So I just wanted you to know, right, when you're in those times, regardless of where you are, um, it's not what it seems. So I noticed, right, one of my biggest, so with Moldavite, if you have this much, for me, it forced me to face a lot of my fears very, very fast, whether I want it or not, right? It's pushing me like, hey, what are you afraid of? Let's go conquer this. So my very first fear was traveling alone. Traveling alone, cross country. So I'm probably like 6 states right now in the last 2.5, almost 3 months, alone. And when I left, I did not have that much money. The energy just consumed me. It's like, all right, I'm packing my bags and I am leaving one way, right? And we'll figure it out as we go. Intuition keeps saying yes, so I'm ready to get this far. Let's do it. Yes, solo. I did have to talk to my friends, right? It's not high conscious one. Like I had to get coaching around that, how to overcome my fears of, wow, if I'm get straight on the side of the road with no money, like, or a flat tire at the end of the night, like what, right? That all that fear would prevent me from going. All that cleared. From Texas to Cali, I don't know, 20 something hours, maybe 3-4 days, made a few stops. So overcame that one. Second one, hitting rock bottom. Oh boy, anything that was close to me being like had opportunity or like a possibility for me to fail, I would kind of like, I'd rather not risk it, right? It's the fear of hitting rock bottom where like, okay, no money, no, like out in the streets, like, I was no money, but like I had a rental. But it's like, right, I mean, the universe, right? I trust the universe this far and just, all right, like, okay, here I am. I guess I am sleeping in the car, right? So, backstory about all that. First, the one about the food. So that happened like once. I had like $1 something left in my bank account. It's all right. I don't know, but we'll see what happens because it's like already like in the afternoon. So and for me it's like, okay, I guess maybe I'm not eating, or I'm gonna eat whatever junk food I have left. And then I accepted my fate. I accepted that, all right, this is going to happen. That or I'll just fast, right? I'll just fast. So one possibility how that what the universe is trying to get me to do is fast. I've been eating pretty bad on the road, And typically when I fast, I become a clear channel, just tune in, right? Because when you're not eating, your organs aren't really working. So like it's not digesting, it's not doing all that. So the energy can actually flow up. So you be a better, you tune in a little more, right? And there's no food or meat or like energies from the animals interfering with your channeling. So I consider fasting, and then but here's the thing: the moment that we accept or be okay with where we are and understand that lesson, the energy dissipates. So the moment I'm like, all right, I'm probably gonna fast. Literally, an hour later, someone bought an activated Moldavite from me. And so my activated Moldavites are a little bit more on the higher end, right? But it's one of those things where like, again, right? It's like all in, right, to the very last dime. And then I accept it. It's like, all right, this is going to happen. Boom. Freeze it up. Abundance comes in. That didn't just happen once. Okay. Next one. I couldn't afford my Airbnb, right? I was like, all right, like maybe I'll just camp at one of these campsites, right? I'm not really a camper. So I was like, I mean, it's cheaper than getting Airbnb. So because of that, it had me to like spend some nights out camping, which actually helped me ground. But it's actually a lot funner than I thought. And yeah, so it's just like a sign from the universe. Like once you accept that your fate, like go out in nature, be with nature. So yeah, it's you may look like, oh god, we're hitting that dead end, like, oh, don't want to ask for help. But what is the universe trying to say? Like, I surrendered this far. I thought the universe has my back, right? And so it's like an opportunity, a blessing in disguise, actually. I resisted camping, but I was like, oh god, like, oh god, now I really don't have a choice. But yeah, even when I make that much money, I still want to go back and go and experience outside camping again, right? Because back in Houston, it's been so long since I've been in outdoors and actually camp. Um, until actually this road trip the last 2-3 months. So yeah, it's like the universe telling me just be with nature, just like be patient. And so that was, yeah, it's not what we think it is. And for you guys who like want to just get away, national parks, they're like $15 a night. You just park your car, you have this campsite. And typically there's a lot of people around like barbecuing, but just go out there and be with nature. There's people out there. And so the energy is, a lot of times the national parks are not interfered by all this 5G, all this Wi-Fi, electrical stuff in the quantum field. So yeah, just in some camps like Mount Shasta was like free for like 3-4 days. But different campsites have different sites that charge, and there's some that are free. So just look into it. So that was that. I really enjoy the camping trips. And for those who are like afraid to go on a road trip on your own, or just like, oh, you're afraid to go out and do this on your own. Like for me, honestly, I would never thought I would do this. But now looking back at it, it's like I expanded myself this much, where it's hard for me to go back like, oh, that's too far, right? A 20-something hour trip, a 6-hour, 5-hour trip right now is like nothing to me. And it's crazy like how we expand ourselves this far. It's hard. It's like we can't go back, right? And even like spending 13,000 on my program, right? My energetic program I'm in right now is like I never spent that much money on a program, but now a $500 program, a course is like, oh, that's not bad. What is it about? I'll consider it. It's like, what the heck, right? It's once you expand yourself that far, you already expanded, right? It's hard. It's really hard, challenging for me to ever look back how small and confined I was previously. Make sense?